name is Mary Duggan, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate your allowing us some time today. We started this process March 26th. I don't know if you're aware of it, but your policy for presenting requires that you give a 7-day notice or a request, fill out a form, and return it into the district office. And then they get back to the applicant. In our case, that happened to be right before spring break, and it extended and extended and extended with, I know you have a lot of business going on. But anyway, so here we are today, August 15th, and I appreciate the fact that here I am, and we have a chance to tell you who we are. I used to have to defend our association. I used to get, oh, you are those people. You're the ones that don't want to do anything, don't want to spend any money. But that's not really who we are. I want you to notice up here on the screen, the Taxpayers Association exists to promote fair, transparent, impartial economic policies for all taxing units of Heber Valley. I prefer that to be Wasatch County, but I didn't write that. WTPA will defend the rights of all citizens to participate in local decisions, to know the impacts of taxing and fees upon their quality of life, and provide an avenue for citizens to be involved in solutions that will protect their quality of life, liberty, and economic independence. That's our mission statement, and that's what we strive to do. We're not, you notice in there, anything like a political group. We do take action as far as, in fact, in the Heber City Council primary, recorded those interviews and put those online, and I think that was a great service to the voters in Heber City. We had a lot of positive feedback from that, and that's what we strive to do, inform people, get them involved. We will encourage them to vote, but we would never tell them how to vote, and I want you to understand that. We just want to be sure that people see all sides of the issue and then make an informed decision based on what they've heard and what their own personal situation is. So that's who we are. Like I say, I don't always have to defend ours. Now, I'm really proud. I'm proud to be a part of this organization. I'm proud of what we do. And I hope that we'll be invited to come back and entertain you again. Can we go to the second slide now? We're here today to offer some assistance, if we can, increasing public input. We'd like to be involved. And I know you have a lot of things going on. This is our board. I'm the treasurer. I'm the one there on the left. I'm always fighting that extra 5 pounds I can't get off. And, the years are creeping up on me too, so. But the rest of the board, as you can see, we're diverse, very diverse. We have all different age groups. We try to select people for the board from different parts of our county so that we're all represented with different issues and different perspectives and coming at the issues from different viewpoints. That would be a good word. Different viewpoints so that we can integrate all of our information together and get that out to the public. So go to the next one, please. That was our website address, and you note that we have a lot of information on our website. If you ever want to check that out, that would be great. We use a lot of state code. I have some of these documents with me. That's what this, I carry stuff around with me all the time. But we use lots of documents. In fact, most of our information comes from codes. We use GRAMA. The legislature wants everything transparent. They want it posted online. We try to make sure everybody does that. GRAMA, as you know, is Government Records Access and Management Act. If you're not familiar with that, I hope you will become familiar with it. We also consult the Open and Public Meeting Act constantly, and you are subject to that as well, and I'm sure you're aware of that already. But if you aren't getting your annual training, you might want to look into that, because they do change that. I print that out on a regular basis because they continue to change that every year. We have the Impact Fee Act, which we consult, the Local Education Board Act, and others. We also have been looking at your own bylaws and standing rules for this committee. So, shall we take a look at this up here? This is from your own documents. First, we have this state code 53G401, and I want to point out number 5, and let me, if you don't mind, read that. Notwithstanding a local school board's status as a body corporate, an elected member of a local school board serves and represents the residents of the local school board member's district. And that service and representation may not be restricted or impaired by the local school board member's membership on or obligations to the local school board. I'm not insinuating that you haven't done anything wrong, but most people have not read that part of the code, and we just want to make sure that you're aware of that. The state legislature makes sure that everyone knows that you're subject to your residents that elect you. Now, transitioning into your own board laws, I would like you just to, these are your documents. I just want to point out that in your own documents, they also are talking about how you want to represent the people in your district, the people that elected you, and reflect the opinion of those people. You need to consult them constantly, I think. And down at the bottom, this is one thing that I really found interesting. Section D, number 8, to welcome and encourage active cooperation by citizens, organizations, and the media, communication in the district with respect to established policy on current school operations and proposed future developments. If you're not doing that, you don't feel you're doing that and consulting your people, I encourage you to do that. We would like to help with that. Okay. Shall we go to the next slide, please? Okay. These are just excerpts from news reports that were put out over the last few years, and this just shows, we're trying to illustrate that other school districts do, in fact, solicit public input. And they, I would want to point out to you, if you don't recall, that Park City and Camas in 2015 both failed their bonds. They're actually going back to the drawing board and actually soliciting more opinion, public opinion, from the very beginning of that planning process. And I hope that you're working on that as well. Okay, next slide, please. Very good. Okay, once again, this is from your own documents, specific powers and duties that you do actually have in your bylaws, that you're welcoming to advisory committees. School boards may enlist citizen groups and assist and counsel them, making certain 3 principles are followed. Citizens groups should be broadly representative, not just from the school parent population, but from all segments of society. Recommendations should be based on research and facts. That's what we try to specialize in. And recommendations should be submitted to school boards alone and have the authority to act upon them. We certainly recognize that. And I know you do too. These are some other citizen groups that we have actually instituted within Wasatch County. And I myself serve on the Wasatch Fire District. I'm the vice chair of that board. I was the chair for the first year. We're doing some wonderful things there, and I think that when we're finished, we will have made a really positive contribution. The Heber City General Plan Review, Envision 2050, Wasatch County Parks and Rec, Midway Open Space and Trails, Wasatch County Open Bond, and for the future, Heber Light and Power. So we have a lot of advisory groups going on right now, and I think that when it's all said and done, that everyone is going to consider this a very positive impact on the community. It brings a lot more people into the process. You get a lot more buy-in to the policy, and everything works out much better. Okay, so if we can move on to budget facts. These are, I did attend the public hearing, and I also listened to the audio. The 2020 budget, more than $92 million. All but 7% is in some form of a tax. Property tax alone is 56% of the total revenue. And I'm sorry to read this, but I'm telling you the public doesn't know these things. I know that you do. I don't mean to insult anyone. From 2016 to 20, $31.8 million to $51.8 million Wasatch County property owners. The enrollment increased by 1,200. The amended budget for last year was $87 million. The original budget that was approved was about 84. So it's $3 million more than was appropriated, that was actually spent. And we seem to have gotten into the habit of doing that on a regular basis, where we overspend the approved budget. And I don't know that that's a good policy. I think that you probably should be pulling in a public hearing and talking about why you need to appropriate more money, and in doing that before you actually commit to the expenses. I know the public would appreciate that, and we'd like to know why. Why do you need to overspend? What's going on? That's not that there's anything wrong with that. You just want to keep people apprised of what's going on. I'd like to move on to the salary and benefit information. We are such a generous school district. I know that you're aware of that, but I have been involved with many school districts, and no one, almost no one, can do what we're doing here in Wasatch County. You already know that. You're already very proud of what we do here. I realize that. Teacher compensation, up over 17% the last few years, 6% just this last year. 7 lane increases 2.5%. We continue to provide full benefits at district expense. 2016 to 20, the cost increased per student from $7,500 to more than $9,000. And the district employs more than 1,000 people. They're licensed, classified, and administration combined. That's a very large payroll for this county. Largest employer and the largest budget in the county. So we definitely want to have some input in how that money is spent. Okay, so we go into the, you're ahead of me. Thank you, Stacy. All right, so the 23% tax increase is very concerning. The decisions that are made by this board are actually causing people to feel real pain, real financial pain and sacrifice. You're not aware of that because people will not come forward in public hearing tonight, I don't think, and tell you that they can't afford this. But the truth is, they can't. It's very difficult. I am one of those people, and I will probably speak tonight. It's not that I'm a destitute person. I live on 5 acres. I have a nice home. But my taxes this year have climbed up to a total of $8,400. I've been reassessed 3 times in the last 5 years. Don't ask me why they pick on our area, but I'm from Daniel. Daniel is not a rich community. We're not Valley Hills. We're not Midway. We're not a lot of other areas. We have a lower per capita income. I'm retired. My husband is retired. And we can pay the taxes, but we're going to be giving up a lot of other things. And you should know there are a lot of people just like me. Even though they won't come forward and tell you that, it is true. And you should be aware of that. You should know that people are having to sacrifice the things that they would like to do in order to support your policies and your programs. And so all these questions, I'm not even going to read down through there, but these questions come up. These are not my questions. These are questions and concerns that we hear. And we're just trying to inform you about, the things. We get many phone calls. We get emails. We have a website that is heavily trafficked. And we just want to share this information with you and let you know where we're going as a county, and you can tell us what you need, and we'll see what we can do to facilitate that. Can we move to the next slide? These are tax and fee increases for just this year that I'm aware of. You may have some other in your district, but this year alone, 2019, and I don't know if you knew this was happening to the county or not, but the school district, of course, is the biggest tax increase and the most affecting of any of them. But the cities of Charleston, Hideout, Interlochen also had significant increases this year. So if you live in those communities, you're going to pay. Central Utah Water has an increase every single year, every one. Wasatch County General Fund and Parks and Rec both approved their budget increases at the December public hearing last year, went into effect in January. In addition to those taxes, we also have some fees, and these are, again, only the ones I know about. JSSD, Twin Creeks, some irrigation companies, and Heber Light and Power also all increased their rates. So people are getting hammered. In addition, if you add the population growth and the property values of the properties that we're purchasing and living on, it's a tsunami for taxpayers. Please be aware of that. that. And I don't know who will show up at our hearing tonight, but you may hear quite a bit of that. I hope you're sympathetic to it. The $150 million bond concerns. I'm not even going to address that at this meeting. Let's say that for another time. That is one of those issues. We just got the notice today about the special meeting on the 20th at 6:30 to pass a resolution for the $150 million bond. Needless to say, I'm disappointed that we didn't have any input into that prior to this date. I went back and checked. I know that you have discussed this. The only indication that I could find of a discussion was a study session on April 18th at Timpanogos Middle School. I think that's correct. And I couldn't attend that because I didn't, well, it had facial surgery and I really didn't want to be out in public. But also, you should be aware there were no minutes or a recording posted of that meeting. So no one, unless they were at that meeting, actually has any information of the discussion that was held. And I guess that was also the budget discussion. Also that was, sorry. Anyway, you should know that. We have concerns that nobody was allowed any input in any of that. And so we'll see where that goes. But we'll have that discussion at a later date. Okay, back, almost done here. To the future goals. Here's the first one. We would like you to revise your policy and process for requesting to be put on your meeting agenda or comment at a public meeting. Actually, 7 days prior to a meeting doesn't sound very difficult to do, but when the agenda doesn't even come out until 2 days before your meeting, it's impossible to make an application 7 days in advance. So you should just be aware of that, and we'd appreciate if you take a look at that. We'd also like a public comment agenda item at the beginning of all board meetings for items that are not on the agenda. Other entities do that, and you know, as of January, I'm going to be a town council member for Daniel. We always allow comment at the beginning of the meetings, and so do other municipalities. It gives people an opportunity to tell you what's on their mind, and you need to know that. You need to talk to them. You need to be involved with it. All other Wasatch entities allow that comment for items not on the meeting agenda, so please allow that in your meetings as well. WTPA encourages creation of an education advisory board and facilities advisory board. We're getting back to the advisory boards that we've already established in the county. We'd like to see the school district do the same. We respectfully request that you allow a WTPA member to be on those advisory boards to represent the taxpayers who fund your projects. We'd like you to add responsibility to taxpayers and fiscal responsibility in the school board's bylaw duties. We would also request that the open public meeting requires all study sessions to have minutes and recordings. Some of those study sessions, as I mentioned before, are not available, and without those, we have no record at all that you had the discussion of the issues that are concerning to us. Minutes should also include the actual board votes. Some of them do and some of them don't. Sometimes it's just a motion and a second with no recorded vote. And actually the code does require that you have a voice vote so that we all know how everyone voted.
We're 15 minutes, so go ahead.
Just I'm almost finished.
Thank you.
Agendas should explain each item clearly so citizens have a general idea of the subject matter discussed. And they're very, very vague sometimes. School board members, superintendents should be available for media interviews. Monthly, directly communicate with all public entities in Wasatch County regularly and have public town halls. We'll be contacting you and hopefully you'll allow us to interview. I wonder if you'll commit to that. Anybody? Not at this time? Not at this time. Okay, well I hope you will consider that. My last slide is we are constantly asked, why do we not have impact fees for schools? And the best I can tell them is that the state legislature banned them beginning in 1996. There's no reason why we couldn't have that. And I don't see why our school district, with its political clout, should not combine with the other school districts of the state to lobby the legislature. We need that. take some of the burden off the property tax and put it on the developers. We'd appreciate that. And then, well, the final thing is, in the news, and you can't have missed this, about MIDA. We are very concerned about what MIDA is going to do to our school district. If you're not going to be collecting taxes for 25 years, how will we cope? So we'd like you to look into that and let us know what the issues are and how we're going to resolve those issues. Okay. I really appreciate the time. I hope you'll invite us back, because we're always glad to share with you what we have. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us or drop by. Come visit me at my house and see my place where I'm going to be paying those taxes. Thank you so much.
For coming, you appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now move on to your topic.